Hi friends, this is Seth Itzkan of Soul for Climate, and I just want to share with you information about this exciting workshop coming up on solar grazing. It's being hosted by the Center for Agricultural Resilience, which is the nonprofit educational arm of White Oak Pastures. And White Oak Pastures is really one of the leading ranches in the world in terms of demonstrating regenerative, holistic planned grazing. And for me, solar grazing really is sort of the best of both worlds because it's solar power, so it's creating certainly a smaller carbon footprint in terms of the electricity, and it's doing grazing underneath, so you're getting the drawdown. So you're both reducing emissions and you're getting the drawdown. And I have a personal connection to this that I want to share with you because I've been to the White Oak Pastures solar grazing operation, and this is it. And these are pictures that I've taken myself, so I can vouch for what they're doing. Everything that White Oak Pastures does is great, and I believe that solar grazing of this type really is going to be a very important part of the future. So when I saw their promotion for their event, I wanted to help promote it as well. Frankly, this is just out of personal interest because of the passion that I have for this topic, and that I know that they have also. Again, these are pictures that I took myself at White Oak at the solar grazing facility near White Oak Pastures. So this isn't their this isn't their land. This isn't their energy installment, but they have the contract to do the grazing there. And here's Will Harris at the solar panel array, and here are some pictures that you can see that I've taken myself. So I really think that this is the future. This is the way to go. And the reason why I was there was because I taught a workshop there. I was invited to give a workshop on soil as a climate solution. So I was very honored, of course, to be able to do that. This is in March of 2022, and the organization that hosted the workshop is the Center for Agricultural Resilience, which is the same organization that's hosting this current workshop on solar grazing. And when you go to visit Will, you see his property and you see his neighbor's property. And, it's so stark, the difference between the land that's in perennial grass and the land that's in, an annual crop like corn or soy. And then you see a picture like this, and there's just everything you need to know about this movement. There's Will's property on the left, the White Oak Pastures, and there's his neighbor's property, in corn or soy or peanuts. This is in Georgia, southeastern part of the United States. And what you want to see here in this picture is not just the difference between the bare ground and the covered ground, but look at the elevation difference there. I don't know if you can see the mouse movement here, but there's a foot or two, close to 2 feet of topsoil that's just gone. And you see this in all these examples. You see it on when you visit Gabe Brown on his ranch in North Dakota, and you look at his neighbor's ranch, and you see it all over the world where there's a holistic ranch, and then there's an annual cropping operation right next to it, and you can literally see the difference. It's almost 2 feet. They don't even have an A horizon left anymore. That's basically subsoil. They're basically cropping on subsoil that relies entirely on inputs. There's no biological activity left in that soil to the right of White Oak Pastures, at all. There's nothing. There's no fungal network integrity. There's nothing. When it rains, it all just washes away. So this is an opportunity for me, talking about the solar grazing, to also talk about the regenerative operation. Again, this is now Will's neighbor's property, and then this is Will's property. So, I took these pictures the same day, same place, basically fence line type things, right across the street. And there's Will, and he's a hero's hero. He's really one of the visionary leaders of our time, and it's an honor and joy for me to call him a friend and a colleague. And here's some pictures from his operation, and you can see he's doing agroforestry here. These are trees that he planted. So this whole notion that that grazing, creates deforestation. Well, it does according to the old model, and what's happening now in Brazil is a horror show. But that's not how it has to be. In fact, grazing can be part of reforestation, and that's precisely what's happening on Will Harris's ranch at White Oak Pastures. And here I am in in some of the soil that was dug out to do scientific testing, and the results of the soil improvement, you can see it's mostly very clay-like soils here, and the results of the improvements in his soil are in a paper published by Jason Roundtree of Michigan State University. Very conclusive, and I'll put a link to that after this video. Again, here's Will some more. And that it just reminds me, of our larger work. So here's my colleague Dalmas Tiampati in Kenya. Here's Will in Bluffton, Georgia. It's all the same thing. It's all people trying to restore soil. And Dalmas is my Maasai colleague in Kenya, and Soil for Climate is very active in trying to improve grazing operations with the Maasai in Kenya and Tanzania. So this is my opportunity to ask you to please help support Soil for Climate in doing so. You'll see links for us there. And Will Harris's operation, the Center for Agricultural Resilience, is also a nonprofit. Donate to them too, but also donate to us. A little money goes a long way in trying to improve the life for pastoralists in East Africa. And again, here's Dallas with some of the cows, and Soil for Climate helped procure some of these cows for him and get leasing rights and whatever. And we also did training. We put in a water spot. This is not year-round water. It's a catchment. Holds the water for a couple months after the rain. It helps. And Dalmas has been active in promoting Soil for Climate and his own organization called the Maasai Center for Generative Pastoralism. And these are pictures I took, at a meeting at one of the communities near him. I think in 2019 we were down there. And this was a training in holistic management that we worked through the Mara Training Center. So that's a sub of the Savory Institute. And so you can see we're working with Dallas's nonprofit to bring holistic planned grazing to the Maasai in Kenya. And so your support is greatly appreciated. And again, it doesn't matter where you are. You could be Will Harris in Bluffton, Georgia, in the United States. You could be Dalmas Tiampati, in outside of Nairobi in Kenya. It's all the same thing. We're all trying to create a better world for the future. Here's Alan Savory, of course, in Zimbabwe, and look at his grandson wearing the Soil for Climate hat. I'm very happy about that, of course. And then, kids get it. We need hope for the future. And this is what provides hope for the future, as far as I believe, soil and regenerative grazing. It's a climate solution. It's a food solution. It's a biodiversity solution. It's a local economy solution. It's an everything solution. So please support solar grazing, support the Center for Agricultural Resilience, support Soil for Climate. And, and thank you very much. This is Dalmas's son. And I've been adopted into the family, so this is like my family to me too, and you're all my family. Okay, see links below. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.